Hello Vietnam. Thank you. Welcome to AOA office. Today we are very happy to have Mr. Stephane Allagnon from Woodward Academy. It's one of our biggest partner in Georgia and one of the biggest school, actually the biggest school in Georgia and in USA as well. So we are happy to have him here, and we want to give basic information and then lots of information, other information about the school we offer you with a very good campus and very good school, offer fantastic programs for Vietnamese students. So thank you, Mr. Stephane, to come here today with us. We have a couple of questions we'd like to ask you. Can you basically introduce about your school?
Okay, good morning everyone in Vietnam. Happy to be here. My name is Stephane Allagnon. I am the director of the International and Global Connections programs at Woodward Academy, which means I'm in charge of all the international students coming on campus and making sure that they are well acclimated and do well in classes. Plus, I'm in charge also of the homestay program for the school.
Can you explain about the process and the relationship between AOA and Woodward Academy, how we can work together to send our students to the US?
So Woodward Academy has signed a partnership with AOA 5 years ago. We work essentially with two countries, China and Vietnam. We started working with Vietnam 2 years ago, and we have an exclusive with AOA. So all the students from Vietnam have to come through AOA to come to our school. AOA is a great company because they share the same values that we have at Woodward, which we are all about the success of the students and also the community and the family relationships that we have with the families here in Vietnam.
So if a student and parent want to go to Woodward Academy to study, so what is the basic requirements for Vietnamese students to learn?
So they have to apply, and that's something that AOA would do on their behalf. The application process is done online. For the application, what we're looking for is letter of recommendations from two teachers, which is going to be an English teacher and a math teacher. And it's also going to be a letter of recommendation from a person of authority at school. I know that depending on the countries on the school could be different. It could be a lead teacher, a principal, a counselor, anybody that knows the students outside of the classroom. Then we need copies of transcript, all high school transcripts. So depending when they come to us, if it's 9, 10, or 11, we need copies of this transcript. Then we put all this information together in the system with TOEFL score and, if possible, SSAT scores. And then we look at the students. Our admission process is an overall process. The interview that we do via Skype is almost more important than anything else. Our goal is to get students that fit in the school correctly. Of course, we're looking for very good students, but that doesn't make it all. We are a very large school, like you said. We're the largest independent school in the US, and we want to make sure that if we take a student at our school, they're going to be happy. And that's our main goal. So sometimes we do make selections of students based on that. We don't always take the brightest and smartest and greatest students. Sometimes we take some students a little bit below that because we think they'll be adding a lot to our school.
We're using a Vietnamese scale for score, like over 10. So how much for the score do you think is good enough for the school?
For the grades, if they have, I would say an overall 7, 7.5 out of 10. I think these are good grades, but it could be sometimes grades a bit lower. It could be a student that is not very strong in history or sometime in science, and that's going to bring their grades down. But they may be exceptional at other things, at art, at languages, and that overall the GPA may be affected by that. And so we look at it very individually at each grade individually to see. It could be just an area they struggle with, and that's not something we're going to take into consideration to refuse them.
Right. How about the TOEFL? We only take the TOEFL RBT, or is there any other certificate that we can accept?
So the TOEFL, same thing. We look at the score. Of course, we look at the overall score. In 9th grade, we'd like for the students to be in the 80s, if possible. In the 10th grade, in the high 80s, low 90s, and 11th grade same thing. But we have accepted students before with lower scores than that. We've accepted a student from Vietnam last year as an 11th grader with a 73 on the TOEFL because overall his application looks great. So it's does not break the deal, but it gives us a good benchmark to know where the student is and what type of support he or she will need when she comes to campus.
Thank you. So this is not very high requirements. So it can, the student can be able to go to the school, be accepted, and be in the US. What's the basic program, curriculum that they're going to teach taught at school?
So it is not a very high demand because again, we concentrate on the student itself, not just on numbers. So we want to give every student that applies a fair shot to be accepted. And sometimes it will be a very high student and sometimes it will not be. Once they come to school, through the 4 years of high school, they have to meet certain requirements for graduation. These requirements are that they need 4 years of math, 3 years of science, 3 years of social studies, and these classes are required with US history, US government and econ, and then 4 years of English and 2 years of foreign language, which sometimes we use Vietnamese would be the language, and that's what they use for credit. These are the requirements. Then they have elective they can take. They need 21 credit overall to graduate. So there's plenty of freedom to do things on the side and to do more interesting things.
So we call them is the AP classes for the student.
Right, so AP selections, we probably have the highest possibilities of AP classes in the US. We offer 25 AP classes. We recommend the student to take between 1 and 2 classes in 10th grade, between 3 and 4 in the 11th grade, and between 4 and 5 in the 12th grade. So overall, they can get up to about 10 AP classes during the time at Woodward, and it's plenty. I know some colleges like to see, or some schools think they like to see more AP, but Woodward is very well known in the college world for being a very rigorous school, and we make the best selections possible for the students. So they understand if the student has only 5 APs, that means they work to the highest potential possible at Woodward, and that tells a lot more than the number of classes.
Are they the IP classes too difficult because they are like a college level for the students?
It's not always the case. Sometimes to get in an AP class, you have to follow a certain curriculum. So, for example, in order to go into AP chemistry, you need to have AP biology. So you need to have biology and chemistry first. And sometimes the students will not have that in the correct sequence. So sometimes they're going to have to wait a little bit to go into the AP class. You cannot take AP US history before taking US history. So if a student comes in 11th grade, they will have a hard time to take that AP because of the fact the curriculum. So that's the decision, and sometimes it's based on grades. We may not think that they're good enough to take an AP class, even though we try not to do that because we always want to give the benefit of the doubt to the student. But at the end of the day, if they take the AP exam and they have a 2 on it, it looks bad for them to have a 2. So they should not have taken that AP class. So we want to make sure that they get a 4 or 5 and potentially a 3. But we don't want them to do bad on the class and just say I took an AP just for the sake of taking it.
If the student can take about 25 AP classes, and then they can use those AP to go to any college university around the US or just some specific university.
So same thing, that varies a lot from one university to another. There are some universities in the US that are very selective about the AP classes that they accept and the scores. You have some universities that do not accept them at all. So it varies so much from one school to another. Most of the students, when they take AP, they will get credit in college. But a college could say to get credit of it, you need to have a 5 in AP English, and another one may say you need a 3. So it will depend from one college to another, so it's not guaranteed that they will get credit. Most of them do, but it's not guaranteed.
So the AP classes inside the curriculums, but including on the total tuition fees that we offer, or the student has to pay more to study those classes?
So no, the AP classes are included in the curriculum. The only difference is to take the test, you have to pay to take the test. And I think, if I'm correct, each test is $92. So if you take 4 AP classes at the end of the year, you will have to pay 4 times the $92. But there's not an extra tuition because you're taking AP class. It's part of the curriculum.
And the next question is, can you give the definition of what it actually is, the scholarship is, and why a lot of the school in the US want to offer scholarship for Vietnamese students? What is actually the purpose of the school to give out those scholarships?
So I think there's different reasons why schools want to give scholarships. Sometimes it's to attract a specific student population because they just don't have many students of the country or many students of a certain type. And sometimes the schools do scholarship because they need students to come to the school for financial reasons or so. We are not, and they want to attract a large number of students. I mean, some schools have 100, 120 international students, so they will offer a scholarship to try to attract more students to the school. We do not offer scholarship at our school for the simple reason is, number one, we have a very low number of international students. We have maximum of 40 students. So we don't need, and we have more demand than we can offer. This is why we specialize on trying to find the best student possible for the school. What we do though is we reward the students. If the first year they do very well, we drop the international fee every year based on the need that they have. So they can get a discount per se the following years when they're there if they don't need the English support or they don't need certain things. But we have to be fair. Our international fee is very low, so we can't really do that. Some schools can offer scholarship because the international fee is very high. We're not. Our tuition is dead on what it needs to be for our students. And I work really hard to make sure that we don't charge too much to the student. In fact, we're just redoing the fees this year with that aspect of giving a discount for a student that's doing well. Because I thought that before that we were not recognizing students that were doing well at our school. So it's more the way it works.
So for the Japanese, what actually is the American thinking about scholarship different from the Vietnamese thinking?
So a scholarship in the US, the only way we can do a scholarship in the US by law is for financial aid. So a student will have to prove in the US, and that's why it's very tricky, in the US that they do not have the means to come to the school. And at that point, we would be able to give scholarship. So we do give scholarship at our school for domestic students because they can prove that they don't have the means to come to the school. But for international students, it's very tricky because how do we prove that they do not have the financial means to come to the school? That's something that is very difficult to judge, and that's why we're not there yet. We're working on a program to hopefully offer scholarship in the future maybe, but we're not there yet because it's very hard for us to figure out that system. And our scholarship is done by a third-party company. It's not done by the school. So we don't have any control over the scholarship that are given at our school. We contract with an outside company that people have to apply to. So that's a little bit different.
Yeah. And the school is very, very, very good for the students to choose from. And you limit yourself in the school that is number 40 students only for international students.
Right.
That's why it may be offering scholarship is maybe you cannot limit those.
Right. That would be the problem. If we start offering scholarship, we're going to have to increase the numbers. And our goal is to keep the numbers very low because we want the students to be fully included in the school. We don't do large amount of international students because at our school they get a real American experience of the school because they are mainstream with the students. They work all the time with American students. So that's kind of why we also pick very special students to come to our school because they have to be able to do well in that environment.
AOA is going to set up to running a expo in March 2018. So there would be a lot of students in the US. Every state, which is one or two school, come to Vietnam to share everything about the local place, their school information, and their culture to Vietnamese students and their parents to know more about the US. Not just read on the flyer, the poster, or on the internet, but actually they can interact with the school and it plays and enjoy and immerse some culture effect from the expo. So do you have any plan, any idea about how can you do the activity in the expo?
So we are working on trying to come to that expo, which has not been decided because of conflict at work, but if we plan, the main thing is I want to interact with the students to get them a chance to learn more about our schools and what we want to do with our program. I want them to know, and that's what I'm here to in Vietnam, is I want them to know more about our school. I want them to know more about what it means to study in the US so they can make the right choice. Our school may be, or our school may not be the right choice for them. And I totally understand that. We want, and that's what I work with AOA too, because we want to make sure that if a student is a good candidate for AOA, then we need to figure out if it's a good candidate for my school or another school. And that's the goal. So the activities will reflect that a little bit to get them to know more about my school, so that way they can make a judgment, so oh, yes, I would like to go there, I think I can be there. So that's what we'll do.
Is the activities going to be fun or stressful or something?
It's going to be fun. We're going to try to do some quick fact about schools, what they're looking for, little games. I don't know yet 100%, but it's not going to be stressful. I don't like stress, so we're going to try to stay away from that.
We're going to do the expos with a very big company for travel agents, very famous in Vietnam, which is called Saigon Tourist. So can you say anything about the relationship with them for now to the expo and in the future's plan to recruit Vietnamese students?
Right. So we met with Saigon Tourist, AOA and then I think it's a great company. The same thing we can look at, they have a lot of experience with tourism, a lot of experience about taking care of Vietnamese residents when they travel. And I think that's why it's a good company to partner with, because I know they're going to put in place their knowledge and their database to be able to take care of the students, just like they're taking care of the Vietnamese residents when they travel in the world. So I think it's going to be a great partnership. I think both of us have a chance to learn from each other a lot. It looks like we both have the same interest for the students and the families at heart. So I think I'm looking forward to working with Saigon Tourists because they will be a good partner.
And the last is, can you share any advice for Vietnamese students when taking the study plan in the US?
So the main thing that I think the students have to look at is what am I doing on an everyday basis to learn English? And they need to think about it. Do they watch movies? Do they read? Do they listen to music? If the answer to those is yes, maybe, or not so much, then they really need to think about doing more. The other thing is, they're going to a different country, and I would encourage them to learn about the culture. When I come to Vietnam, I do my research to try to find places to go and eat, places to go and see, because I don't know the Vietnamese culture. I mean, I have you to help us, but it's good for them to do the research. And also do the research for the schools they want to go to. What do they really want to go, where do they really want to go to? Are they looking for a big school, a small school, a boarding school, a homestay program, a school that is in the north, in the south? Then I think price should not be the main concern. And that's what we tell our own students, domestic students. Price should not be the question. First, figure out what you like and what is good for you. Then start looking in the price range that you can afford, where if you have any schools that is available. But you should not pick a school because of the price, because you could end up in a school that you really don't like, that is not made for you. And then after 1 year, you'll be disappointed and want to change school. So it's better to do the research on what they're looking for exactly in the school.
That's the last of the advice and the good information about Woodward Academy. So we are AOA that's a partner with a lot of the school, and one of them is a very big school, and we do trust that the school will deliver the best program for Vietnamese students right there. And we also actually have students studying in grade 11 at Woodward Academy, and they be very successful. And we also looking forward to meet more parents and students who want to get more information about this school, we're willing to help you, to offer you the good study plan at this school and support you and help you to get the visa to go to the US. So thank you very much, Stephane, for being here with us today to introduce a lot of information. So thank you. Keep in touch with us, and if you like to see our office is here in number 99 Nguyễn Kim Street, District 1 in Ho Chi Minh City, and we also have the school, the head office located in Georgia as well. So check it out on our website and fan page. Thank you.
Thank you.